Hey, welcome. Today we're diving into a really critical workplace skill, how to give employee feedback. We're going to break down how you can do it in a way that actually builds people up and drives real improvement, instead of, just tearing them down. So, what's the deal here? What really separates feedback that crushes someone's motivation from the kind of feedback that genuinely helps them grow? We've all seen both, right? Let's get into what that fine line really is. Okay, let's be real clear on this. The answer isn't about just trying to be nice. Actually, sugarcoating things or being vague can totally backfire and erode trust. Real development, the stuff that sticks, it comes from feedback that is direct, constructive, and above all, fair. It's supposed to be a tool for growth, not just a way to sidestep a tough conversation. All right, so to get this right, we're going to walk through four key areas. First, we'll look at the art of the conversation itself. Then, we'll talk about turning that chat into an actionable plan. After that, we'll see why following up is so important. And finally, we'll cover the super important legal and ethical rules that keep everyone protected. Okay, first up, the art of delivery. This is all about the mechanics of the conversation itself, how you actually structure it to get the best possible outcome. Think of this five-step process as your roadmap for a really constructive conversation. It all starts with setting the stage right. Then, you kick things off on a positive note to build some trust. After that, you get specific, and being specific is absolutely crucial. And remember, this has to be a two-way dialogue, not a lecture. And always, always, always finish with a clear plan for what happens next. And this right here, this is probably the single biggest shift you can make. It's all about focusing on behavior, not personality. Saying, "You're disorganized," feels like a personal attack, right? But saying, "The last two project deadlines were missed," well, that's an observation about a specific behavior that can actually be changed. One is an accusation, the other is a problem we can solve together. But look, a great conversation is just the starting line. The really critical next step is turning all that talk into tangible action. And that brings us to our second section, creating actionable plans. And the go-to tool for this is the SMART Goals Framework. You've probably heard of it, but it is so powerful for a reason. It's a simple little acronym that makes sure any objective you set is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to the feedback you just gave, and time-bound. This structure just strips away all the ambiguity and gives both of you a crystal clear target to aim for. So let's see how this works in practice, because that's the important part. A vague goal like improve project management is pretty useless. But this SMART goal, this is a real plan. It's specific. Complete the Acme project. It's measurable, a 15% cost reduction. It's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time-bound with clear deadlines. Now that is a blueprint for actual improvement. Okay, so you've had the conversation, you've set the SMART goal. Now what? Are we done? Not even close. That brings us to our third stage, closing the feedback loop through constant monitoring and follow-up. You see, effective feedback isn't a one-and-done event. It is a continuous cycle. As this timeline shows, a good process has a built-in rhythm. You've got an initial review, a formal check-in after about a month, and then regular progress reviews after that. This whole system keeps the plan from just gathering dust on a shelf and makes sure it stays a living, breathing guide for development. And that's because, and I love how the source material puts this, development is a continuous journey rather than a fixed destination. The follow-up isn't just about checking boxes. It's about being a partner on that ongoing journey. And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most important section, the legal and ethical guardrails. These are the fundamental principles that make sure the entire process is fair, compliant, and actually constructive. Think of these 5 principles as the absolute ground rules. They are not optional. Your process has to be fair, using the same standards for everybody. It has to be objective, based on things you can actually see and measure. It must be completely non-discriminatory and free of bias. Confidentiality is key to building trust. And finally, its purpose must always, always be developmental, aimed at growth, not punishment. And here's something really important to remember. This isn't just on you, the manager. As this chart shows, an effective and fair feedback system is a shared responsibility. It really needs collaboration between HR, leadership, and managers to work the way it's supposed to. So, after all of that, what's the big takeaway? It's this. Effective feedback is so much more than just a tough conversation. It's a structured, continuous, and fair process that is specifically designed to turn those conversations into genuine, measurable growth. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to think about. I want you to take a hard look at your own practices and ask yourself, is your feedback process truly building up your team, or could it be unknowingly exposing your entire organization to some serious risk?